let's go ahead and switch gears into one of the topics that I wanted to talk to both of you guys about. I didn't want to get super political on this, because I know that when it does, things get bad. But by the time this episode, it already happened. So
yeah,
the process is ongoing. But the election has. It's an ongoing process. It's currently happening right now, but it seems to be a clear winner. I guess my question to you guys is, what were your thoughts as this was going on, leading up to it? Your thoughts going after, and you don't have to tell me who you voted for, but just tell me like your overall process. The people around you, media. Maybe you can touch upon like local election. I know Kenny's really he's in media, so give us some good insight on that.
I mean, first off, working in media, I guess there's so many different moving parts to it, and for me, I'm not a political person. I watch what's happening with each of the candidates that's running, but I try not to get too deep into all of that. That craze that's happening. And locally here, it was a pretty interesting race, especially for the mayoral campaign race that was happening, because the two guys that ended up running against each other, they were fresh into this race, completely no experience with being in politics and all that. And so that was something that really caught the attention of many locals here in Hawaii. And in addition to that, we had the presidential election that occurred the same time as well. And that was also something that not just the whole country, but the whole world was looking into. And I just remember like a lot of my friends from different countries, like for example, Korea, they kind of messaged me saying, how's the situation with the presidential election?
Right.
And I just told them like, we're still waiting on results, and everybody's anticipating who's going to be elected. And of course, within the past year, there's a lot that happened with the whole Black Lives Matter and climate change, all of that. So it was a time where a lot of people really made the effort to go out, and overwhelmingly, record-breakingly, we received the most votes in the nation's history. And that was just amazing to see.
It felt like this time their vote mattered a little bit more. But for yourself, are you glad that this is over, or are you taking the side of, okay, now that this is over, let's see all the change that will be made,
I know with the new elected president, which is Joe Biden, there's gonna be a lot of things that he really has to start right away before he even makes that transition into the actual White House. With our current president as well, I think, both of them really have to collaborate with each other to kind of move things forward into a hopeful direction, you could say. And I am a person of hopefulness, and I put my trust into whoever is leading the country moving forward.
It's like whoever wins, my mindset is like, I want them to be successful. It doesn't matter which political party that they're part of, because when they're successful, us as citizens, we benefit from that. Like if the economy is doing well, businesses get to thrive, employees get a pay raise, their wages go up, the stock market goes up. So everybody wins, I don't want a president to do bad, but that negatively directly affects us. So, David, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, this has been one of the more, it's crazy. Before the election, I mean, you had, again, like Kenny mentioned about the whole Black Lives Matter, and that triggered tons of storms and fights and protests across this entire country. I've known people on both sides of the spectrum who unfriended each other on Facebook and other social platforms, which does not solve anything. It's really immature, honestly. It really broke up a lot of people, families, friends, and I talked to a person and she knows 5 couples who got divorced because of the whole Black Lives Matter issue, which shows in perspective exactly just how crazy and how um, influential and impactful the protest was all about. And I just kept on saying, to me, honestly, it was toxic. That's literally what I can say about the whole thing because I saw people literally arguing on both sides of the spectrum. Every time I would go on social media and somebody's story, they would continuously post about this and that, and I would see another person do the exact same thing. And I understand people have the right to be able to post and freely speak and all, but to continuously keep on, saying that over and over again, I had to take a break from social media because of the fact that it was just affecting me and it was bothering me the entire time. And then, of course, with Trump and Biden going at it against one another and those debates, that's another topic to be discussed upon. But it clearly showed exactly how, just how, just how, just how downhill this country was like starting to honestly go to. And Joe Biden became president, and even if he does, and even after he is president, there's still going to be a lot of political problems. There's still going to be a lot of issues because Democrats and Republicans are polarized, and it's tough for them to be able to just see exactly find common ground because of the fact of on certain issues, and because you have Congress, you have the House of Representatives, and then you have the Senate, and then of course you have the president, and there's going to be a lot of gridlock. That's what I believe, and that's what's going to happen. And the next year may get better, it may get worse, but hopefully I am going to say that hopefully it does get better, because this year was very insane. It was crazy. We all seen exactly how hurtful, how just impactful negatively it has done to all of us. Um, Politics is a nasty business, but that's always expected. But I believe that we can be better, that we can actually choose to be better at the end of the day.
So let's unpack that for a little bit. I have some thoughts. It's a classic example of us versus them mentality. You know, once you join like a group or a party, you know, there will be negative stereotypes that the group will say about the other party or the other group. You know, because think about it. You know, once you join a group, right, you feel that bond of like, oh, it's the good guys versus the bad guys. And once it starts becoming like that, you dehumanize other people, and they're no longer people that you can talk to, people that you can reason with. They're just savages, basically, that they can't be reasoned with, and the only thing they're good for is just all the bad stuff that they do.
And you're put into a situation where you have to believe what your party is believing.
You have to choose
because.
It becomes a zero-sum game where nobody really wins anything, or if there is something to win. And that's just the sad part. It's like during events like these where there's a lot of conflict, it's the perfect time to sit down and talk about it. Like, let me hear your thoughts. I don't agree with what you said, but we're still brothers and sisters. We're still human beings. I want to hear you out. Because even though we might disagree on ideologies, that doesn't mean that we can't be friends. Because I have a lot of friends that on both sides of the political spectrum, they believe in many different things. And I know a lot of people want to, if you voted for this candidate or this candidate, that means you take on every single ideology and belief that they have, when in truth, that's not true. Now, just because you believe in something doesn't mean everything is attributed to you.
Yeah.
So we really have to take a step back and think about, just because this person thinks differently than me doesn't mean that person is bad. It's just like someone hits your car. Is that person a bad person forever? No, maybe they might have made a mistake.
Yeah.
So that's how I see all this. Is like, if there's conflict, that is the exact perfect time to understand that person. Let me listen to you, not to reply, but to understand. It's tough.
It is.
It's not easy.
And the fact that you were, a lot of us too have been in the middle of this political spectrum, seeing both sides and, trying to understand both sides at the same time. And, moving forward, it is important for us to understand and also collaborate with each other, because, we're the United States of America, and, we all just have to come together somehow, some way, someday.
I was reading an article about Pandora's box. Basically, hope leaves Pandora's box last, because with hope, even when things are really grim, you're still able to change things around because you have a little bit of hope left. And when people say, oh no, 2020 is terrible and next year is not gonna be any different, and all this negative stuff, it's like, don't lose hope. As long as there's a little bit left and you believe in yourself and you believe in the goodness of other people, which I think everyone's capable of, we've just been so conditioned and we've been fed, to like anytime someone makes a mistake, it's like, okay, let's zoom in on that, and that's all they're
working on you. Yeah.
It's like someone can say 10 nice things about you, but then you're going to remember that one negative one instead of the 10 nice things.
Yeah.
All of this, we're winding up the year, and to experience all of this within the past couple months, it is just, it's overwhelming. And our mental health is very much impacted by all of this. And really appreciate you, David, for taking the time to speak your mind and also share with us how you've been dealing with everything on top of, the election, COVID, and just personal, concerns and all of that.